Today I'm going to show you how to create your rosters, right? So our first step is to sign into our FCC Pass Gmail account. All that information on our password and whatnot can be found on Slack. So once you sign in, we want to go to the drive. And the first step, if we have any confusions, is to go to the roster instructions. That is the document that we want to find that will help us walk us through how to create our rosters. So we'll see that the first step is to make a copy of this roster. This link right here is clickable, so we want to go ahead and open that roster example. And so this will give us our example roster that Mr. Paulson has wonderfully created. And you see that there are some of these codes embedded in this sheet. So we want to make sure to use this roster example when we're creating our roster. So the next step, we have our roster here, right, is to make a copy of it. You'll see here, we're making a copy of this sheet. So what we'll do here is we'll go back to this example. We'll go to File. We'll go to Make a Copy. And so this is going to be Miss Potts example. And we are going to save it under the collective mind for spring 2021. I'm going to make a Miss Potts folder here. You will also include your section number and whatnot in your title, but for right now, this is what I want to name it as and save it as. So I have created my file, right? I had to click that little check mark, but if yours already exists, you can go ahead and just select it here. And so I selected my file and I am going to make a copy. So then that brings me over to my own roster that is using Mr. Paulson's guide. So from here, let's say I have my roster. I'm going to use this example roster over here. So this is my sample. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this information. I'm going to select all of the data, including the zeros, names, all of that. And then I'm going to go to Control and then Copy. Control C. And then I will now go over to my roster, right, where Miss Potts example. I select my first column up here, right? George Washington is not in my class, but we want to go ahead and paste the values only. And so you see that drops down then all of our names and fills in the rest of them. You also notice, again, we want to use this. Because if you took the time to write it out and whatnot, you really want to do it this way, right? Because it even has a first name, middle name, last name. Then we have first, middle, last name. And then ID number. It's very, very important that we use the commas. The Excel sheet is reading these by the commas. It's basically saying take a space here. So the commas are very, very important for us in what we're doing. Now that we have our combined, we're going to copy it from here over. So I want B through D, and I'm going to Control C again. And then I'm going to go to my master roster. I'm just going to select here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to paste special, and I'm going to paste those values only. So I can go ahead now. I have used my converter. I am all good here, so I can actually go ahead and delete that just so I don't accidentally make any mistakes or get that confused with anything. So now I have my master roster. This right is an example. So what I would do is I would go here and I would right click on master roster, and I'm going to duplicate it. And so then I can come over here and it's a duplicate. So I want to rename, let's say my class started today. Welcome students. So it's on the January 25th. Let's say my class started 25th. The class started at 1 p.m. Class finished at 2 p.m. And then we went over the example roster. So let's say that, for instance, this student came in 10 minutes late. They had things going on. So what this will do, right, as it is enter all of these students who's coming in at the same time. So what we want to do is say this student came in a few minutes late. So we want to put a comma here, right? It's easier for me to click it up here in this space up here. So I put a comma, and let's say they came 10 minutes late, so we'll do it from 1:10, and then they left at the same time, right? We have to tell the system the exact time that they came and left if we're going to adjust it. So now I have my roster then all set for the 25th. And so let's say I'm looking at this and this student didn't come today. So what we're going to do, this student didn't come today. So what we're going to do is just delete it. That student couldn't make it. They had things going on. So we just removed them from our roster because we weren't able to see them today in class. And so a few things that we've run into so far, we want, again, to make sure we're using these rosters that Mr. Paulson has created for us. More information can be found on our drive right under the roster instructions. All of the things that I went over are in this document. If you, for whatever reason, have two classes, say you have a 380 and a 280, you want to make two rosters just like this. I know I might hear a lot of comments saying that, well, my class is asynchronous, we're not meeting. This process does not take long at all. So go ahead and make it just in case you in the future decide to hold a workshop or do any special things where a roster would be needed, because you will already have it done and it does not take too long. Please let us know if you have any questions. Me or Mr. Paulson are working more in depth on this, but supervisors just in general will be able to help you, or you can send us a Slack message. Thank you so much, guys.